Hey, this is Jared with the Daily App Show. We're going to take a look at AccelaStudy, the Spanish to English study application. In the previous video, we took a look at the Russian version and looked at learning basic specific categories. Now we're going to take a look at the entire feature set of the AccelaStudy applications. This is pretty much the same across most of the AccelaStudy applications, so these settings and options that we go over apply as well to not only the Spanish-English version, but the other versions of this application as well with the different translations. So what we have here is our main panel that we're going to see every time we load the application. Under Plan, we have some different options. We have our categories, which these are all of the different categories of words that we can study. And there are a lot of those categories. If you scroll down, it is very specific. We can opt to select none of these categories or select all of them, or we can individually uncheck categories or individually check categories. I'm going to select all of them and go back. Under My Study Sets, we can create study sets. Let's say perhaps I want to create a study set for colors. I can go ahead and do that, and then I would add words. So I can come in here and I can add words from the list. So I could choose red, I can choose blue, black, and so forth and so on. This would take a while to do this, but perhaps you needed to study something specific. Maybe perhaps multiple words that are listed in multiple categories, but not exactly the words that they have listed in the category. So maybe perhaps under numbers, when all we wanted to do was learn how to count 1 to 10, in the numbers category, it's also allowing us to learn other number-related words, and so we could set up a study set for that. Now, for the example, color here, black, blue, red. We've got that set up, our study set, and I could always select that study set to study as well. Now you see under I am studying, I can choose not only all words or selected categories, but the study set that I created. Under all words, that's going to allow us to study every word that it has in the system here in the application. Selected categories will allow us to study just the selected categories that we had chosen under the categories section. Remember, we were checking and unchecking these different categories. So I'm going to choose all words, and we're going to go back out of the application. We'll come back and look at statistics in a minute. So now let's look at options. Under Study Options, we can choose to display English to Spanish or Spanish to English. So I would choose English to Spanish because I want to learn Spanish. It'd be easier for me to know the English word before the Spanish word. But if I was a little bit more advanced and wanted basically to use this application to kind of brush up on my Spanish, I could always choose Spanish to English and have that option show first, which would be more difficult, essentially, than it would be showing the English word first. We could also use this application to teach Spanish-speaking people some English as well, if we were to flip-flop the display. Under word order, we can have alphabetical or shuffled. We can play the audio on slide or choose not to, and then we can choose the language that we are trying to learn, whether it be Spanish or English. Like I said, we can use this application not only to learn Spanish, but we can use it to learn English. Under flashcard options, we have a couple of the same options. We have our display, English to Spanish or Spanish to English. We have play on slide and then the word order. Under quiz options, we have the display, we have advance, feedback, how many questions in the quiz, and the level of difficulty. So once we progress, we could change the level of difficulty to make it a little harder and bring in harder words for us to learn. Under spaced repetition options, we could change the display and the play on slide options. And then we have an about menu as well, which we can go and check out. So under Study,
el abdomen,
you can see what it's done. It's automatically playing the audio for us. It's showing us the first word. This is in the alphabetical order, English, alphabetical order. Up here we have our audio levels,
el abdomen,
and down here we have our replay button.
el abdomen,
We can also create study lists or study sets on the fly. I can copy this word to any study set that I would like to by selecting the study set and hitting copy word. Now, I wouldn't want to add abdomen to my colors, but if I had created a study set on perhaps body parts or anatomy, then I can change and add that into a study set.
sobre, por encima de, el acelerador,
So this is how I would study. I would be listening to the Spanish, I would be repeating the word, and I'd see the English version there as well so that I can relate it to the language that I already know.
aceptar, el accidente,
And I can do this for the entire 2,434 words that they have in the system. Of course, the most useful way would be for me to create some study sets based on words that I really needed to learn. So let's go back and look at flashcards.
tear,
Flashcards are a good way to test yourself because it's showing the English version here, and when we tap,
el desgarrón o el roto,
we get the Spanish version.
tear, tight,
apretado, apretada,
You can see it shows the masculine and the feminine version. And you can also see that the
Tight.
English versions now are not sorted in alphabetical, but they are random. In this section, we can also create study sets. Under spaced
Gentle.
repetition, we have our version here. We would say the Spanish version because this is kind of a self-test,
gentil,
and then it gives us the Spanish version once we tap. I can
To
choose
join.
whether I was right or not, or wrong.
unir,
Let's say perhaps I got this one wrong. I can go and add this word to a study set so that I could study this word more closely at a later time.
tight,
apretado, apretada,
I can always replay here.
apretado, apretada,
Let's hit the back button and go take a look at a quiz. So here we've got the English word, and this is just the reading version, so there's no audio. So I would be tapping on these words, and you can see here that we've got 10 in our quiz. So of course I would be going through this quiz and attempting to get all 10 of these right. Let's see if I could get these right here. Utensils, marinated. Oh, wow. Yep, I got that one right. Quick. Apricot. Pancakes. And company. Alright, so now I can go back and review. Congratulations, I scored 100%. I can go back to the review, or I can do a new quiz. Let's look at an audio quiz.
south,
Audio quiz is essentially the same thing, but it reads it to us instead. So we don't have the word to see. We are now testing ourselves based on the audio that we hear. We also have the ability to search. So I could search by English or Spanish.
red,
rojo,
And I could tap
roja,
over on the right and hear the word as well. And then we have our translate direction. Spanish to English, English to Spanish. So I think you're really going to like AccelaStudy. We've basically walked through all of the options and how to use the application. So whether you are learning Spanish for the first time or need a refresher, this is a great app for you. Or perhaps you are helping someone learn English, this can also be a great app for that as well. So definitely check out AccelaStudy as well as the many other languages that they have available. Go to dailyappshow.com, do a search for AccelaStudy, or to the iTunes App Store and do a search for AccelaStudy. I think you're going to like it. Take care, and we'll see you next time on the Daily App Show.